Shared Screens Destiny 2 The Witch Queen discussion. Destiny 2, the game, the universe, the
soundtrack,
phenomenon,
the video game.
The life.
The life, and the prosperous life, the anti-death of Destiny 2. I am your host, Brother Grimbo. Joining me, I'm going to mess this up. This should be Chris. I should be pointing it at
That is
the
correct.
one and only Rumble Pack.
Hello. What was the name of, was it Peter Jackson's King Kong, the movie, the video game? Was that the name of the title?
Yes.
Welcome to Shared Screens, Destiny 2, The Witch Queen, the podcast, the discussion.
Yeah, honestly, they need to make like an auteur face of the game so that we can start calling it like, or Zavala's Destiny 2.
Paul Tassi.
Paul Tassi's Destiny 2. All right. And next we have, Alec. It should be
Yes.
Alec that I'm pointing to. There we
Hello.
go. What's up, Al Bob? And then
Doing
we
good
also
today.
have Borzen joining.
Yeah.
Is this the first time you've been on a Shared Screens anything?
Nope. I
He was
was
on
on the
our
Metroid.
That'll do it. I
Discord's
should
fun.
watch our Metroid review. And finally, we have Billy the Door, Billy the
Oh,
Lucid
it's me.
Door.
We also have
And Kevin Jr.
Look at how good he is. He's very
God.
good.
I ordered the Bungie, like the shirt, the Triumph shirt from last season, and I almost quit the game entirely because their store website is so either buggy or I was getting it at a bad time. I don't know, but that was probably the worst like checkout experience I've ever had. A lot of restarts and refreshes. So
It's
And not
both.
even just through checkouts, you also have to go to the store, sign in, and then it goes, okay, here's how you go to a bunch of rewards, which takes you to another site, sign in there.
Mhm.
And I'm like, why are these separate stores?
and then there was
You gotta
something
make-
wrong with my password, so I had to like restart or refresh my
geez.
password, whatever that was, and then do the entire process again. And then there was another glitch. It took like 50 minutes. Like no lie, it took 50 minutes to order the goddamn shirt that I
Oh, yeah.
Not here
Also,
yet.
if you ever do the thing where you play on multiple platforms, because I play on Xbox, I play on PC, I play on PlayStation. Bungie.net just kind of forgets for whatever reason. It's like, yeah, you got to reset everything now because it's not just one account anymore. And I'm like, why? The password hasn't changed. And they go, just log in again everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
in a very stern voice.
Before you can do anything, you're gonna have to relog in all of it. I'm like, fuck you, man.
It's Zavala
I
wagging
just
his
wanted-
finger.
I just
Yeah.
wanted to buy a strange
No,
coin,
Dad.
bro.
I'm sorry, Dad.
Yeah, Zavala Wag just God, okay, but I swear to God, we love this game.
Yes.
It's
I
really
love
good.
this game. It's a very good game. So I guess to start the discussion, we should kind of go around and list off like when did we start playing? When was your first moment of I want to play this? Or when did you start? Did a friend drag you in? Borzen, let's go with your history.
So I started playing Destiny with the Destiny 1 beta. And Destiny 1, the vanilla game, is one of the worst games I've ever played. And turned me off this game entirely. And then Sony was like, hey, do you want Destiny 2 for free with PS Plus? And I was like, didn't like the first game. I'll give it a try. And literally fell in love because they actually told the story kind of that I wanted. It was
Well, they
it
told
had
the story in the
stakes.
second
Yeah,
game.
well, yeah. Which was more than nothing.
And for those unfamiliar, how did they tell the story in Destiny, or how did they not tell the story in Destiny 1?
So the story in Destiny 1, for those who are unaware, if you've read any of Jason Schreier's first book, he talks a lot about it. What they did is they legitimately made a story by committee. And pretty much the story is so disconnected, it almost doesn't fit together. The overarching story is like, you gotta go to Blackguard and get the Black Heart. And you learn all this in Grimoire cards, which you get by leveling up guns yourself, doing specific activities like a bajillion times. It's
real Dark
awful.
Souls. Yeah.
Compared to even like Halo, where you understood the intergalactical like struggles of the Arbiter in Halo 2 by just playing the game.
But in
And-
Destiny, like, who am I fighting and why?
Yeah, it's just
just
like
they just kind of say words,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
and then like you'll be on a mission, and then your ghost, originally voiced by Peter Dinklage, and then I say voiced as a very strong word. I think it sounded like he kind of said it all over the phone in about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But I
will
mean, he'll just
defend.
kind of say, "Hey, that witch came from the moon," and then the next mission he'll be on the moon, and then
Yeah.
you'd come up with a character who tells you they don't have time to explain. Why don't they have time to explain? And then then the game's over. I have no idea what the fuck happens in Destiny
Yeah.
1.
Yeah. And then then Destiny 2 I was just bored. I was listening to us at the time, and I was like, you know what, I'll give this game a shot. Started it, fell in love, played through Forsaken, then didn't realize Forsaken had like seasons, and left. And then wanted to like kind of do something more when Shadowkeep came out, and started a small clan. You might have heard of us. We're the Kind of Funny Destiny 2 PC clan. Yeah, never heard of it. And then just have been literally playing every season since, during Shadowkeep and everything. And Ben, that guy on Twitter, who is always tweeting, "Play Destiny 2. It's a really good game."
Hmm. Yeah, I feel like I definitely share that quality with you, at least in my friend group. I've been the obnoxious one that, and to be honest, I've successfully converted about half of my friend group
So
into
jealous
joining.
too,
So
because every time I get back into it, I had a couple friends that played with me at different points, and they never come back to it. I'm like, come on, man! I'm telling you, just take
So
one hit,
good.
just take a little bit,
So
especially
just
right
this
now.
one time.
I mean, Chris, when did you start playing?
My story is very similar to Borzen's. I'm also a Destiny 1 beta man. But I also kind of I've played it in a bunch of different places. So when it first came out, and slash the beta, I played on 360. And then when I upgraded to PS4, I picked it up again there. Destiny 1 is the worst game that I have sunk like 300 hours into.
Hmm.
I played the shit out of it, man. I played the fuck out of it, dude. Taken King and Rise of Iron were hot. I refused to back down from that. Rise of Iron was sick as hell, and everyone always looks it over because Taken King was so good, and that in that it added a story.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I've been playing since the beginning of it, and then bounced around on just about every platform that you can think of. Destiny 2 at launch as well, and that was when I was like, hey, the first game was fun, but I also know that it was for like weirdos like myself. Destiny 2, like yeah, I was like, wow, there's a real campaign in this. Like, there's an actual story. There's a lot of people rail on Destiny 2 vanilla for not having a whole lot at launch, but those people didn't play Destiny 1.
Hmm.
So I was like, wow, there's so much more to do in Destiny 2. And the gun balance felt better, and the PvP maps were better. And I've been a little more off and on. Usually what'll happen is an expansion will come out or a new season will start, and I'll jump back in for a couple weeks. I'll kind of get my fill of it, and then kind of backslide until the hype for the next season or the next expansion starts ramping up, and then I'll come back for a couple more weeks, and it's just real off and on until the end of time. I love when big expansions like this one come out though, because that's when I play it for like a month or two solid, and
Oh yeah,
we're
it's
like 3 weeks
definitely
into that now, and this one is quality.
it. Aside from the horrible pun about like Destiny seasons, but like it is definitely Destiny season right now in my head at least.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Uh, Billy,
yeah,
what
and
is?
I think Witch Queen is definitely like the best time, like right now, to
Oh
play
yeah,
Destiny 2 again. Like, if you've been out of it for a while, this is the time to get back into it, man.
agreed, agreed. Billy, do you want to discuss your history? Or when did you start playing? Who did you start playing with? Give me the details.
Yeah, so when I was younger, I didn't really play many like games online with people. So I did have a PS3, so I did have access to the Destiny 1 alpha. And I played the first mission. I was like, this is a very fun first-person shooter. I'll get it and see what it's about. And then I like did the campaign, and then I was like, okay, I guess I'm done with this. Yeah, and I was like, again, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know why I was, going into the Black Garden, whatever, all that stuff.
Nobody else does.
Then nobody else does. Yeah, exactly. There was no time to explain, really. Uh, and then took a break until literally Destiny 2 came out, and I did the same exact thing. I played through the campaign, and then I was like, oh yeah, that was fine, I guess. And then last year, you might have heard Borzen talk about how he likes to tweet about the game and get people addicted to it, and it worked on me. So I hopped in with Season of the Lost, and I've been addicted ever since. Haven't stopped playing. Got to pinnacle cap on 2 of my characters last season.
Nice.
I'm very excited to get into the raids a bit more. But yeah, that's my history, I'd say.
And Al?
Yeah, so I had a 360 for a very brief period of time, and I jumped into vanilla Destiny there. And when I say I hopped in, I mean I played maybe an hour, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. And I bounced. And then I think I came back when I had a PS3, or maybe even on the PS4 for Taken King. Fell back in love with. I'll say fell back in love, but I enjoyed what I played enough to where when Destiny 2 came out, picked that up at launch, and it is something because it's by Bungie. The gunplay and the abilities are just so good that it's like, yeah, the story is not the best, but it's the gameplay that reigns supreme. So that's what kept me coming back. And I came through some of the expansions in Destiny 2, and I remember playing Forsaken. And then after I beat that campaign, I stopped playing for a while because, like Billy, I'd never used to play much multiplayer games just because a lot of my friends weren't gamers. So then, what was it when Witch Queen was starting to come out or starting to come up, and the release was getting closer? It was on Game Pass, so I'm like, you know what? I'll download it. I'm not sure I'll play it, but then Billy and Borzen kept tweeting about it, how good it was, and they dragged me in, and I haven't looked back.
Our numbers grow.
Yes.
This is this is the first time I've actually gotten past the soft cap
Hey,
in Witch Queen. So
your power
It's a
grows.
good feeling.
Darling.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought that my story was going to be very similar to Billy's when he started out, because I also played the alpha on the PS3, and I remember it was my most anticipated game of all time at that time. Like seeing the Gallarhorn, and I think it was the Thunderlord, and like for me it was okay. So it's the Thunderlord, and okay, cool gun, whatever. I've seen a cool gun before, and then it has a little lore entry. And then you can level up. I was like, what? It's an RPG, so I can satisfy my nerdy like level increasing bits, but also pew pew, like lizard brain and nerd brain at the same time. Awesome. And played pretty consistently, but with I considered myself a Destiny player, even though like I would go months without touching it. I'd like play the new expansion, beat the story, and be like, that was awesome. Bye, and then just dip out for months until Shadowkeep, where for some reason the spooky vibes got me in. And I thought
It
Eris's
dropped it
whole
like
character
right at the end of September too, which was awesome because you're like going into October with this real spooky expansion. It was sick.
Oh yeah, and then the opening theme, I remember being like, "Oh, this is so cool," and then we later find out it's Savathun's song. So hey, but and then played Beyond Light. But throughout my entire Destiny campaign or experience, I was like very very casual. Like I'd play the expansion, I would play PvP sometimes, but I was more just like, this is a fun thing I like. And now it's kind of like with Season of the Lost, especially like that, it became my true addiction. Like I just helped I'm going through the raid with Billy. We have to finish the boss encounter tomorrow, hopefully.
Yes,
Fingers
tomorrow.
crossed. And I guess we're going to transition more. We're going to try to save spoilers for the end of the discussion, but I feel like now is kind of a good transition to see like how has it evolved over the course. We've touched on how it didn't have a story. It has a story now, and it's pretty good. But in terms of the gameplay, I feel like it's as good as it's ever been, but there's a greater depth to the loop behind it. Like the gunplay has always been great, and that's not really changed. But like
3.0
the reason
classes.
behind the gunplay, I feel like is a lot more
I think there's just been a shift in the design philosophy of the game, just in the like your characters in what they allow as in terms of like guns and abilities. When I think back to Destiny 1, um as bare bones as that game was, again, I put like 300 hours into that game, and it's like we just had Vault of Glass and like 5 exotics until the Taken King. I look at I remember that, and now we look at Destiny 2, where they're like, here's like 3 exotics a week, you're welcome, like go have fun. I look at the really really fantastic, my favorite actual part of Witch Queen, which is the Void 3.0 update, and being able to get so into the weeds of everything and seeing all these crazy builds that they can do. Like I've got this thing for a Titan where, I mean, you get the scatter grenade. You set the thing up to where if an enemy dies to an explosion, they explode, and that just feeds into itself. And then you pair
So
that with guns
cool.
that repair your grenade energy like really quickly, and you just become an animal. It feels like they kind of they took the line of from Syndrome in The Incredibles, where it's like, hey, if everyone's super, then no one will be. If fucking everybody's a goddamn superhero in this game, and it's incredible. It's like they finally. It feels like Bungie just kind of took the chains off, and he said, you know what? Let's make some weird shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a grenade launcher with a worm in it that talks to you, and it's
Yeah,
Mhm.
really good. Apparently,
It's a very good exotic.
it's a
Yes.
very
I
good
still, have,
grenade launcher.
I still have a few more steps on that one.
yeah, same. I just anytime I start to want to do something story wise or like the end game story wise, I just jump back into PvP because I have lizard brain, like I'm going to say 1,000 times, and anytime I get a gun in PvE, I'm just like, ooh, how can I use this to hurt others online? Like, how can I?
Yeah, yeah.
See,
No,
I'm the.
I think.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, I think they have finally realized what they want to do in Destiny 1,
Mm,
because you can see so much of that here with, hey, especially crafting, which I feel we'll get a bit deeper in a bit, but it's all like, hey, this gun is your gun. The fact that when you craft it now, it has a date created stamp on it. It has a whole, like, each gun now feels way more customizable
mhm,
with that third perk uh that is per the manufacturer of that gun, and how each gun each season now has it, they like the new guns feel unique in their own way and are very versatile within their own way, while not removing everything that made the old guns good as
mhm.
well.
Yeah. As much as I really like the new additions, I definitely switched to Gallarhorn halfway through the campaign just to be like, as shiny as this new toy is, I need to get this done. I need a good hammer,
Yeah.
or
And
I need
also,
a glaive.
you'll never get something any more reliable than good old Galley, baby.
Yeah, honestly. That said, the new addition to the weapon archetypes, the glaive, um,
So good.
I know that like I've seen people say that they're horrible and that they're overpowered. I personally feel like they are just right now.
Mhm.
Like I feel like they have a good place where they're very powerful in lower end content, but as soon as you get to higher end content, you're like not so much using it for the melee or the projectile, but like that shield is so game
Yeah.
changing. I was not expecting that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
the shield's real nice, and I think the people that are saying it's OP. It's like, I think just like the speed of the bullets that it fires is lower, so it's harder to hit faster or smaller enemies. I mean, sure, there's more damage, and then but it's like it's got unlimited melee, but you got to get real up close, and a lot of
Mhm.
times in higher
Mhm.
end content, you're not going to want to do that.
I'm gonna tell you,
And
in
so yeah, I
Wellspring,
think they
it's so good for that boss.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
On defend.
Mhm.
You get 2 or 3 people around it using the glaive, it's like, oh, that just
Poke, poke,
drains that
poke.
health.
Yeah.
Yeah. And especially they correct me if I'm wrong, but they just changed like the melee perks. Like any of the perks that would give you increased damage on like melee kills or anything that would proc on a melee
Yeah.
kill. Like they made it so that that would actually work on the glaive now because it didn't initially.
Oh,
Like grave robbers.
Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
There
Mhm.
was one of the perks it wasn't working right on. I think they just changed that. Um, and the other thing is, people who say it's bad have not used suppressing glaive yet, because
Yeah.
if you can go up and melee kill a yellow bar, it just feels good.
Yep. Yeah,
Again, they made you feel like a superhero, man. You could just go up and start whacking the shit out of people with the glaive, and it feels awesome.
and then so I will try to throw in my like little PvP bits, but like in PvP, it's not great. Obviously, like if you're trying to melee someone, you have to get close enough to where like if they have a shotgun on you, you're done. Or if they have a sniper on you and they can just very vaguely aim up, you're done.
I feel like in PvP they will have a shotgun on you.
So most of the time they do, except for the night that my friend went on like a 15 kill streak with melee only. So
Oh dang.
yeah, so I guess so what he was saying was you just have to get like close to them, wait for them to turn a corner, and then you just go in. And if you have like Devour proc or something at one of the health regenerating perks or abilities, you just stay alive and you tank it. So like if anything, I appreciate the glaive for adding that wacky ass nature to the game. Like it's so weird. And if you see someone running at you with a giant stick, like like it's just funny. And
They're so big too. They're hilariously big.
seeing them own people's backs
The
in
first
attack.
time I was in
Monster
the
Hunter
tower
big,
and
yeah.
I had it on my back and I went, "What the fuck is that?" Have you seen the raid one? Oh my god!
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. And I feel like the way that they built up the not only like the glaive itself, but like the idea of weapon crafting. For one, I love like the story lore reason why we can do this, but also just the way like. And I also just want to address like there are like a lot of cutscenes this time around. There's a lot more dialogue. There are a lot of characters that I like I care about it because I'm a Destiny nerd. I feel like there are a lot of characters that if you really haven't experienced the Destiny universe before, like there's enough to where you can at least say, oh, that one's my favorite for superficial reasons, sure. But still, I feel like that's a huge leap from Destiny storytelling in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the campaign, it definitely felt like, there was a very clear story, and, I was even listening for like, oh, if I was not familiar with Destiny, like, would I understand it? And like, they explain enough things where it's like, oh, this guy, like, someone who watches all of Bife's videos, like me, or has experienced it, like Chris or Borzen, would be like, yeah, I know who like this character is, but someone who is newer, that I think they do a good job of like reminding you of like, oh, this person did this, and like, this is why this is important to the story right now. So
I'd like to liken it to something like Avengers: Infinity War, to where that's a flashy enough movie, and there's like probably a couple characters that like get in, and if you haven't been watching the MC movies, you can kind of at least get the general idea of what's happening in that movie. You won't get all the backstory or motivations of some of the characters, but you can still sit down, watch that, and have a good time and enjoy it, and that's a great way, I think, to kind of get into what's going on there. And so like the build up to Savathun and Lalora has been going on for like years. Like this is kind of the Infinity War moment of Destiny 2 right now. And I think it's again, like you said, there's enough there to where if you haven't been playing Destiny 2, this is your first experience, you can get into it, you can learn who these characters are, and enough, because they do a great job of explaining the things that are very relevant, like just to this. But if you're also somebody that's been following it for a long time, there's lots and lots of little payoffs and references and all of these sorts of things too that make the old heads kind of go at the same time. It's a really great balance that they struck.
Oh yeah.
It's
Alec,
like you don't have to have read all of the Grimoire cards from Destiny 1 to understand what's happening here. They do a really good job of explaining that, even if you haven't played the first game. Like,
yeah. But if you are like a lore head like Billy and I, like there are moments where you pop
so
off.
much.
Yeah.
So
So
Alec,
much going on.
as the newbie to the Destiny universe, like what did you think of the story? Were there any lingering questions? And I guess we can also go full spoilers at this point. I feel like we'll just go full tilt into this spoilery story discussion. There are definitely
Savathun
some.
is dead.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say to me that it was. I understood what was going on. I mean, I guess I could say the best part as somebody who had left from Forsaken and just played the stories. I didn't do the weekly, the seasons or whatnot. I'll say I understood what was going on, but didn't quite get every single bit of lore. So like, I just like this is my first time hearing about the Witness.
Well,
That's
so
all of us.
That's a new
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was for
Okay.
everybody. That was new for all of us.
See,
Yeah.
see,
So, as
But
somebody who,
that was a huge reveal though too when
Yeah.
when it's like, hey, there's this other person who tricks Sabathun. I went, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I was like-
so I do have a question. Did you know who the crow was, like
Ooh.
originally, from as somebody who went away and came back, like how he got revived and everything?
no.
'Cause
Interesting.
see, because that is a whole like bit within Forsaken, and it was the thing that convinced me to start playing Destiny again a lot harder. Because
I'm
I
trying to
like,
think. It's like she's like a Bucky Barnes kind of.
Mhm.
yeah. So
Not she, Crow. I'm sorry. I
yeah.
started thinking of
Mhm.
I tried to think of any other comparison that I had, and I was like Captain America, Bucky Barnes, and Peggy Olson from Mad Men, I guess, and then got in that loop of Becky
The wires
Carter. Okay,
crossed.
who's I
Like,
actually talking about? Yeah. So I got Bucky in there, but the pronouns are messed up.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's very interesting because the crow, like Aldrin, we all like from playing Forsaken. I'm assuming you knew he died at the end.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So like the whole resurrection was also in Forsaken.
Okay.
You just had to play stupid high level content. Like I didn't get to experience that until I swapped to PC and they introduced crossplay.
Yeah, I saw it as a. I've kept up with that. Like whenever I take a step
Yeah.
away from Destiny, I always keep up with like the lore through YouTube videos. Like My Name is Bife is the
I
lore
need to start
master in
doing
my head.
that.
Yep.
Our Lord Daddy.
Lord
Yeah.
Lord Daddy and Uncle Mylan. Uh, he he started doing more like tinfoil hat stuff that I fucking adore it. Like there's a thing now where I guess in the ARG that came with the collector's edition for the Witch
Mhm.
Queen,
Mm.
I guess Savathun found a black hole that can let her access like our universe. And the
Yes.
idea is that to do that, she needs to implant the thought of herself into human minds, and that she's been in the Destiny universe training herself to adapt to human minds so that eventually she can. So, like, literally, me talking about her is helping manifest her in the real world, which I think is a hilarious bit of writing.
And that's all due to the fact that they actually had Savathun take over DMG
Mhm.
back when we first got Artifact. So, because the thing was like you have to be light level 999,
This is the truth to
and
power thing, right?
yeah, this truth to power, and complete the Shattered Throne
Hmm.
dungeon solo.
Oh.
So
Guess you
a
were gonna
guy
do that.
actually did that. And in response to that, they had Savathun send a message through DMG on Bungie Net as that is in game that he thought like I think it was like, oh, you think it would bend so easily? I own the Dreaming City and stuff like this, and like that's so they wrote. This is what I love about Bungie right now. They write lore to explain why things are happening inside the game. So, like, you know, all the planets and like the DCV.
Mhm.
There's lore about why the planets that are in the vault are in the vault,
Mhm.
not because
I mean, the entire story was like trying to come up with it. Like the idea of the ghost was just to explain the gameplay mechanic of reviving, which I feel
yeah,
like in Call of Duty, it's a 6v6 game mode. You go in, you kill each other one time, and then you respawn immediately. And you kind of just you either don't think about it, you
It's a
assume that they are
game.
just infinitely deploying soldiers. It's a game. No one really cares. But like in Destiny, that's thinking about the little minutia of wait, yeah, what happens when you die and then you just come back to life? Like, who does that? Well, there's a character, and he's voiced by Peter Dinklage initially. Like,
And
yeah,
it's one of those cool things too, to where I think it's just like one of the more brilliant instances of making like the in-game lore fit the gameplay mechanics. Like I think
mhm.
only like Hades kind of does this as well as Destiny does. Just in that it's like you start to think about it more and you think, oh, the Crucible happens in universe because they can just shoot each other and
Yeah.
come back to life,
Mhm.
and it's not a huge deal. Like suddenly it's like things like multiplayer are canon within a video game's lore, and that's really cool.
Well,
Mhm.
I just
And-
remember, just real quick, like I was at the tower, just like in my vault, and then there's just like some random NPC behind me, just like, oh, did you catch Crucible last night?
Yeah. Like little banter like that, and then little lore bits that kind of do the reverse of like instead of explaining why you have to do this game mechanic, because like in the lore, it's like you do the crucible so that you don't have fear when you go out into the actual battlefield, which I think is awesome. But like the other end of that, you have Ikora, who's like super powerful, and they're like, well, how do we explain this within the lore? Like she is like one of the top 10 warlock or guardians to ever live. How do we explain that? She's just been power leveling. She basically goes out and will just murk, like just go on several strikes solo and gain XP that way, and then become naturally more powerful, which I think
Which
is
you
so
see in
funny
this
in the
campaign.
concept.
She grinds, man.
Yep. Yeah, no, you see just how powerful
1,000
Ikora is.
intellect.
That was,
Oh yeah. Yeah, that shit was awesome.
Yeah.
I just like right before this just ran the end mission with a buddy that like I have been trying to convince him to play Destiny for years. And then finally what did it was I convinced him to play Lost Ark with me while I was waiting for Witch Queen to come out.
Mhm.
And then he got addicted to that, and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna play Destiny now, bye. And then he started describing to me a dungeon in Lost Ark, and I'm like, yo, do you want to do that, but like in a first person shooter with like laser guns and swords and your friends? And he was like, I guess. And next thing I knew, he bought Witch Queen. He beat the campaign.
great.
He's like, we're talking about getting Gallarhorn and all this good stuff. But in terms of the story, he was confused and laughing at a lot of stuff.
It's silly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I feel like Destiny players kind of like Kingdom Hearts players. They hear the light and the dark and they take it way more seriously than everyone else because it's the light and the dark. Like it's the easiest naming convention in fantasy, but like I don't know. I feel like the game does a good job of, and especially with the Witch Queen story of drawing out like, okay, well, in my head the light is good, but the bad guys are using the light, and I'm using the dark sometimes. So what does that mean?
Mhm.
The game has moments where it tries to self-reflect, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Like
It did
Other
not
times you
work
get-
in Beyond Light, let me tell
It
you.
did
I was
not.
just
I
gonna
was
say,
just gonna say
other
that.
times
No.
you get Zavala just yelling at you about using the darkness.
And then you have Lord Saladin giving you a text while saying how disappointed he is in you.
yeah. Well, and then in the new Saladin, the seasonal story, I feel like a part of the Witch Queen, they also launched Season of the Risen, which I think has a lot of opportunity conceptually. The idea of like basically running forced psychotherapy on, not psychotherapy, like psychic therapy. Like you're getting in the minds of the bad guys and then like
Mhm.
forcing out secrets.
Psycho
and-
hack. Oh,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like
We're playing Psychonauts in Destiny.
Yep.
basically.
actually, yeah.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's accurate. I think the idea that a lot of the characters, especially the older characters, are showing their age. Like you don't realize that these people are centuries old because they're immortal, and
Mhm.
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 that doesn't, like, you know how the stereotype of like your old racist grandpa who like says something messed up and they're like, oh, it's a different time. Well, with Saladin, it's like I want to genocide an entire race of these alien things because like it's what's right, and the
Yes.
fire and the traveler's light and all this stuff, and you're just
Yeah.
like, Jesus Christ,
Yeah,
dude.
that ain't how
Mhm.
things work
Like,
anymore, man.
You're just the Iron
Yeah.
Banner guy. Like, well, come on, what are you doing? Like, for the most part, he was just a voice for the multiplayer, and now he's a serious character with problems that need to be addressed through therapy,
Which-
probably.
Yeah.
I just want to quick say there's that cutscene during, I think it's towards the latter half of the campaign where you basically have to go back to the tower and sit in on that meeting. It's so
Yeah.
cool.
And awkward. It's like you have like 8 super powerful parents all fighting, and it's
Yeah.
all kind of related to what you just did, and you're just like,
Yep.
am I
Yeah.
in trouble? Should I go? Should I put it back?
You mean the mom and dad are getting divorced cutscene that's in the campaign where
Yeah.
it's just you and Eris looking at each other while Zavala and Ikora
no, I was
argue in
talking
front
about
of
the
you?
one that's back on the
Yeah.
tower. But
Yeah,
the
the
there's
one-
that other one.
That one was
Yeah.
legitimately uncomfortable.
Yeah, you're just like
Yeah.
awkwardly standing there, like
Especially because it's like
This is
we
not
just
a It's not
saw.
a cutscene too. You're actually like in
Yeah.
gameplay, so you can move around
Mhm.
still while
Yeah.
they're talking at each other. And I'm like, who do I look at? Should I be
This-
listening to
Doing
this?
the cat
You know?
dance the whole time.
Yeah, honestly,
I think
emotes
I
like
think
emotes and
whenever
like the
we mention it in our clan, it's always the Mac and Charlie looking at each other from It's Always Sunny moment in the campaign.
yeah, it's real, and I feel like a lot of the fun nature kind of gets in the way of the serious tone that it tries to pull off because like I said, I just beat the campaign again, and beating Savathun should have felt super cathartic and should have felt a certain kind of way. But immediately my buddy goes, "All right, everybody, teabagger," and then we just started teabagging dead Savathun,
100%. Yeah.
like on his
I did the
first
same
clear. So I'm
thing
just like,
playing it solo.
no, playing it solo, I feel like it's well deserved. Like this is the friend that he had me and my buddy jump in. We both have suppressing glaive. We both have Gallarhorn. We're just like there was one point where the mirror altar room, like where she's
Hmm.
doing the spells and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
uh, our buddy was standing in the middle dancing while my friend, like my experienced friend, and I were just going through clearing all the rooms, then coming back, just being like, okay, like we're glad you're having fun. We're ad clearing for
Yeah.
you, but that's cool.
I think lore wise, Destiny just is kind of like your cool DM friend who lets you just kind of go off and be silly and manages to work that into the story in really
Mhm.
cool ways. Because I think of that dungeon from last season, right? Or right
Grasp of
before
Avarice.
it hits.
Mhm.
Yeah. Where I mean, it's like you drop into the loot cave from Destiny 1, and there's all of these references to the first game. There's plenty of like dialogue and stuff, just kind of referencing like the dumb things that players will do, like jumping off the tower or whatever, and those sorts of things. And they managed to work that into the lore in really really fun ways. I think if you go in expecting like this really really serious story, it'll kind of be. It's not going to land that way, but I don't say that as a bad thing.
I
Um,
feel like Zura's a character kind of exemplifies like we know that we're silly. Like he,
Mhm.
Zara and
Like the
everything to do with the
horse.
horse.
oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Dares of
That
Eternity, where
That
he's
was one
Yeah.
of
saying,
the
"Oh,
funniest things
no
I've ever seen in a
whammies."
video game where you run an interdimensional game show.
with
So
Yeah.
his
like
whose line is it anyway? Voice lines.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
You also have the whole mission in Beyond Light where your ghost is reading things as the drifter,
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that
and
was great.
it is the best like side content I've ever played in Destiny because it's just the ghost like darkness and like it's like
Shout out Nolan North.
yeah,
Yeah.
who
Uh,
initially found out he perfectly did Todd Hockerburn's voice for the Drifter. And then they were like, no. What if the ghost was the Drifter? Oh, okay.
That's so funny. He did it right the first
He's
time.
too skilled.
He's too
Yeah.
good.
He's too powerful. Please nerf Bungie.
and
I
speaking,
just think like one of my favorite things just about the game as a whole is and this might sound a little weird to say but it's the trailers. So when I think of like the vibe of Destinies, I think back like to the Destiny launch, like the live action like launch trailer,
Mhm.
like the Taken King one, the Destiny 2
Mm.
one. They just recently did this one that I really really love called Heroes Welcome. And those sorts of things I think managed to kind of perfectly capture the like the vibe of the experience of Destiny to where it's like, hey, yeah, you get to run around in space with your friends and shoot things, and that's the point of it.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
it's like they're not trying to convince you it's anything else, and that's so cool.
and even
Which
within that framework, it's still whatever you want it to be. It can
oh
Yeah,
yeah.
be, it can be you're sweating in Trials of Osiris, or it can be I'm just gonna hang in the tower and try to push my friends off while they clean their vault. Like it can be just the
Mm.
fact that they have the floor is lava at the tower just as a thing that you can just do like while you're
yep,
waiting around for your raid party.
just
I
turn it
think
on.
it's so great, and Bungie's very self-aware. I agree. Alec, you're about to say something.
I was gonna say I'm surprised we've made it almost 40 minutes into this podcast and not mentioned the best boy Finch.
Oh yeah.
Finch. I was he. I remember coming up the hill and like meeting him for the first time and like gasping and realizing like, oh my god, like I
Our
need to talk.
informant's a ghost.
Yeah, like it's our informant is a hive ghost who for me at least, like pretty immediately justified like, okay, I messed up. I realize that. I'm sorry. I'm trying to make it right.
Yeah.
Like that whole
I
character
love
is so great.
everything Finch says.
Mhm.
He's incredible. What a
I
outstanding character.
you guys, Billy, because I think he was watching my stream day one.
I
I had
was
a
just about to
whole
ask you.
I have a whole theory that Finch is somehow like Cade reincarnated somehow
Ooh.
because he has a lot of the same mannerisms and same like the jokes are about the same too, and that's what I felt was really missing in Beyond Light was like something lighthearted because
Mhm.
Beyond Light was like, hey,
Fetch quest.
yeah, fetch quest after fetch quest mixed with, hey, this is all really serious like implications
Mhm.
of
Everyone's
the
upset
lore.
at you. Your
Yeah.
ghost is
Yeah,
upset.
yeah.
Zavala's
So
upset.
I did not like how much my ghost yelled at me during that one.
That's
yeah,
my
Yep.
thing. Like, regardless of what I do, you're in my backpack. Like, you're not leaving me. So, like, just
Right.
Right.
yeah, just
Shut the fuck
justify
up.
it whatever way
You're
you
here.
have
Like,
to.
no, we're
So,
doing this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why I did that late on a Saturday night, and I'm just like, I'm just chilling. I think Billy was there with me, and it's like,
hmm
it's just like, yeah,
Which is
I'm
so
just going
funny.
through this.
And you have to do it to unlock the stasis class, which is like,
Yep.
Which is why I was doing it. And I was actually I was a little late on the start of Witch Queen. I was finishing up the online like 2 days after Witch Queen dropped. Because I just Beyond Light was one of the things that just kind of missed me. That was during my down phase. And so yeah, I'm kind of running through it, and he's like, there could be really terrible consequences, really. And I was like, no, I see all kinds of Guardians all using it. It's cool.
Very cool.
Just like they're
it's
fine.
cool. I want to be viable in PvP.
Everyone else
Yeah.
is doing it. Shut the fuck up, Ghost.
it
honestly.
there's implications, but they're in lore books. That's like probably my biggest issue with Beyond Light is they moved so much out of lore books, but they left like some of the most like pivotal things in lore books still. Where in this, it's like I feel everything's in the game. Like you would have had a cut like if you go do your first patrol after beating the Witch Queen campaign, Finch and Amaru, who's Savathun's ghost, have a full dialogue storyline conversation about that. That would have been a lore book before.
I mean, and there's still a lot
we
of really
never
good
would have
stuff
heard
in
that
the
in
lore
the game.
books. Like, there's a lot of like, it doesn't necessarily change what happens, but it like the idea that so for months Savathun was like in disguise as Osiris. One of the first lore books I read with the campaign, Osiris like willingly gave himself up to Savathun, and that like recontextualize. It doesn't change anything necessarily, but it definitely recontextualizes a lot and adds more depth to the character. That like I don't even think we saw him this season. Like I think the last time we saw him was just getting carried off at the end of last season. But
He's in hospital.
yeah,
Yeah, we see his ghost.
or the shell
Yeah,
is
ghost
RIP
shell.
hero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sad.
I thought that she was going to get resurrected. I was so hyped. Like if we can start resurrecting ghosts, then that means that Cade's back, and that means that blah blah blah. But
Yeah.
who knows?
To circle back around, I do agree. I think this campaign was kind of missing like a Cade like figure, and I think Finch kind of fills that really well. I did also just kind of want to like just because how much I just love the idea of the Lightbearer Hive, like suddenly going up against enemies who lore wise have the same abilities that we do. So cool. The first time I saw like a hive pop off an ult, I was like, "Let's fucking go!" Like I hit mine at the same time, and I was like, "Hell yeah!" And then I mean, you know, it was a story one, so I wiped the floor with them. But that first time that you crush a ghost, that's a feeling right there. That's a mood.
Yeah, I remember seeing. Go ahead.
The minute I got Blade Barrage the first time, I think I said
sucks.
what I normally say in trials on Friday nights with my fire team, which is like, "Oh, you piece of shit, motherfucker, get back here!"
Yeah, I
Like-
feel like whenever I died in PvE before that, it was like, oh, that's on me or whatever. Like, but with that, it's like, no, that motherfucker got me. Like, it wasn't, oh, I died to the game. It's that lieutenant killed me for no reason.
It's always the hunter ones too.
Yeah.
Always the Blade Barrage, yeah.
It's the Blade Barrage
Yep.
every
dodged
time.
my rockets. He dodges my
Yes.
rockets.
Yeah.
Now.
Once in
What
a
a
while, the
jerk.
Titan Shield would get me too, because that just does a ton of damage.
I also love the novelty of seeing Savathun use the light. Like the first time Savathun Nova bot or Savathun Nova bombed me, like I got giddy. Like I dodged it and was like, "Ooh, that almost got me." Like, don't hit me next time. This is
So funny. She threw a Nova bomb at me, and I was like, "You motherfucker! You shouldn't be able to do that. That's mine. That's not yours."
yeah. It just felt wrong. Like, is this what I've been putting you through this entire time? I'm sorry. I'll not do it again. I'll switch.
Yeah.
I'll switch off. I'm sorry.
I love that you had this like, "Oh my god, this is what I've been doing them," and I just went, "Hey, stop that!"
Yeah.
No,
Um,
bad.
so another like notable character that I still am trying to decide how I feel about is the Witness, the end cutscene for the
Megamind.
campaign.
Megamind.
Megamind.
Yeah.
Megamind. How do we feel about his introduction to the game? I feel like he wasn't necessarily like teased super heavily before the Witch Queen. Like everyone's kind of guessed like there's going to be a bigger bad, but like I don't think we got the name the Witness until the Witch Queen, if I am
Yeah.
remembering correctly.
So you get like it's the Dark Gardener or the Gardener and the something
Winnower.
else. The Widower, thank you.
Winnower,
Like Winnower. And that's like the paracausal forces, and like the ghosts are considered and the guardians are considered agents of the gardener. And so I guess you could always assumed there was going to be agents of the winnower, or
Mhm.
I'm going to say it wrong a billion times. Forgive me.
darkness.
Yeah, the darkness. So there's going to be agents of the darkness as well.
Mhm.
And there's always been this rumor, this conceptual art wise, fifth race, but never in game. And then I got kicked by the fifth race a lot over the weekend.
We're gonna get kicked by him tomorrow, right, Bo?
Oh, I can't wait. Oh, I can't
Yeah.
wait.
I saw
We're
an
gonna get
excellent
rid
meme
of.
regarding that.
I want to discuss Rolk like while we discuss the raid in a second, but just
Yeah.
back to the Witness specifically.
Mhm.
Like, is that the big bad? Like, is there a winnower above the Witness? I feel like for them to call him the Witness, like in my head, singular. So like it doesn't seem like one of many. Like he's not a witness. Like, but then the question becomes like, what is he witnessing? Is it like the ultimate truth, the final shape? I don't know.
The final
Yeah.
shape.
Yeah, probably.
Well, my first reaction was like that character design is so unique. It's like nothing we saw in
Yeah.
Destiny before. The heads coming out of the smoke, the eyes are a little goofy or whatever, but like, the cloak that they had on and like that room that they were in, which I guess we, get a little bit more of that in the raid, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah,
but it was just so cool that it was so like something different, something new.
Yeah, agreed. And I guess
Yeah.
that kind of moves us into the raid, the vow of the disciple. Or
One
what do you
last
wanna say?
thing. Who knew how to beat the Aramkara in the campaign?
It took me a second.
Yeah.
Which one's the Ankara again?
The
giant
dragon.
Riven, where you fight Riven, legit. They
Oh,
made you
oh.
do legit Riven.
Wait, if you shoot
That
the
took me a
claws, does
while.
it like
No,
did shooting
it
the
doesn't
claws
do
count?
anything. You have
Okay.
to shoot the mouth with the glowing fire, and that's when you shoot the eyes. I can explain Last Wish legit one day.
No,
It
That one
that
took me a while.
fight in the campaign, I
that's-
just
yeah.
I just used Gallarhorn and then that didn't work for some reason, so I was like Sleeper and then Sleeper took care of it. It was
Yeah.
fine.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That was a shock to me because I literally had a buddy who was a bit ahead of me, and he goes, "Yeah, you're gonna find out something pretty soon. That's pretty cool." And I was like, I literally pick up the worm, and I'm like, "Whatever, man." And they just see me get gasp on my screen. I'm like, "It's an armed car." And like that was the best mission in the whole entire game. That felt like a Halo mission where
Yeah.
you literally are going down into it. You have to go hit a lever, extend a bridge, and then it felt like old Bungie Halo.
Yeah.
The
And that's-
temple was
Music.
huge when you like jump like down.
Yeah,
Oh
Like,
yeah.
It was such a cool, vista. Bungie loves their vistas.
yeah. And I hadn't felt a Halo campaign in moment in Destiny since maybe Red War when you're
Yeah.
on the Drake.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like the fact that they brought like some that had there's a whole escape sequence.
Hmm.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
so sick.
Yeah, that point where Ghost is just like, yo, you can't fight this, just get out. Just
Yeah,
get out.
like
Yeah.
run.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which
and-
there's usually one in every campaign, but that one hit.
Yeah.
And the score
yeah.
too in this campaign.
Oh,
So good.
I mean, the sound design in general, I feel like they nailed, like, when you hit something with your glaive for the first time, the melee, like, it feels good. When you crush a hive ghost, it sounds good. I feel
Yeah.
like their
Yeah.
audio team is just incredible, like, all around. Like, score-wise, for sure, but it's a lot of, like, the weird sound effects of, oh, I have a new power-up or new buff or whatever. Like, the sound that makes, I think is really interesting.
Or leveling
Um,
up the season pass.
it's definitely like created like a Pavlovian thing in me at this point, where it's just immediately happy chemicals. You
Yep.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
that level up. So before we wrap up, I'm not exactly so. Chris and Alec, have y'all gone through the raid yet?
I'm not. I'm still not. I'm still under level. Am I
Okay.
playing right now? Maybe.
You got to get up to level. You got to do it. It's the most urgent.
Mm.
I
important
think
thing.
I'm technically level ready for the raid.
Where
I
are
think
you?
1522.
I would hit 40.
40? Gotcha.
Oh, I'm well under level in that case.
You'll get there.
As for that final boss, you're gonna need it. As somebody who was 20 levels under for that encounter for 48 hours, the closer you are to 50, the easier time you're gonna have.
Yeah, because that's what the boss is, right? 1550.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
That yeah.
I think I'm gonna do the raid eventually. I just don't think it's gonna be anytime soon. Just with the way my work schedule has been and stuff, I just can't devote the time. Really, I can only play like once or twice a week at this point.
It's one of those things where it's definitely an investment in terms of like the time spent actually in the raid and then also the time spent preparing, like not only in game but just out of game, like learning what the mechanics are and learning what all the symbols mean and learning, what is the optimal loadout. Oh, do I have any of that? No, I don't. Let me go grind for it. But
Well,
also it's worth it. Like the sense of scale when you're in the pyramid, the like just turning a corner, seeing an open area within this pyramid, and then seeing like, oh my god, like I won't spoil it, but like there are moments where you turn the corner and you're just like, oh wow, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm afraid, like I'm upset that I want to get through this quickly, because I just want to spend all my time just like looking around. Like it's a museum themed situation, and there's a lot to look at.
Well, they have a mission where you can play pretty much the first part of that. Like, or at least what Billy was telling me when we played that last
Yeah.
week.
You go
And
into the first
That
encounter.
vista is crazy.
Mhm.
Like when you're inside that pyramid.
Yeah, you get the bone, the rib bone there. You get the
Mm-hmm.
in that room because that's the first encounter room, which is
Okay.
that's a big room.
Mhm.
That is.
Lots to look
And I think this might be my favorite raid. Like I loved Deep Stone,
Okay.
and I loved Last Wish, but the fact I spent 30 hours just getting absolutely destroyed and bodied by this game this past weekend. And on Monday, I played for another hour and a half inside the same raid.
Mhm.
Like I was mad I didn't have two other characters up to level to try to get the exotic.
Mm.
Like I've never before with a raid have been like everything in this is so mechanically driven. It's so good.
Yeah.
And it is it buggy? Yes. Very much
You have
so,
to do the
yes.
second encounter twice.
When is
Oh,
it?
just
we yesterday, I'm so mad because I recorded like everything but that, where we killed the second boss, and like we all saw the health bar go down, the whole dissolve animation happened, we all cheered, and then wipe. And I'm not sure, like, what was the cause of it? Like, did one of us? I don't know. I don't know if it was just like the bug said, "Oh, the encounter's over for everyone" at that point, or if like one of us still had a debuff on us, or what. But that was frustrating. But also
It's
worth it.
not
Highly recommend it. I cannot recommend it enough.
the only
It
thing
was the
that
worst time
might
of my
make
life,
it.
and I want it over and over again.
Yeah, the only thing that might make it a little bit more enjoyable is you'd spend 8 hours doing that blind, and then you beat it, and then you have to wait till Shared Fate ends, because the game says you beat second counter, but not really. After 8 hours.
Huh.
So
Yeah,
I
that's
popped off the first time we beat it. I have a clip on my Twitch channel that is really good of me. Like, you can't hear me on stream because that's how loud I'm popping off.
Mhm.
At like 10 o'clock at night was worth the noise complaint. And then the game goes, yeah, do it again.
Jeez.
Oh,
Is it a
man.
bug or a feature? Who's to say? No, but
Yes.
I love doing raids and like because especially like that satisfaction you get from like doing it with a group and like you wipe a bunch because everybody's learning the paths. Like last night we did the third encounter, right, Bo? And we were every time we would like get a little bit further and get a little bit further and get a little bit further and then we get to the end, but because I dropped the relic, we wiped. So then it's like, oh, okay, so that's a thing. And then, we eventually got it. And there's no other feeling in Destiny where it's like you're so synergized and working with your team and like everybody knows what they're doing and then you get through it. And then you get, cool weapon with a perk that might be broken.
Yeah,
That's what I heard. I watched a video on that, the perk for the raid weapons.
Which one?
The origin
Soul
trait.
Drinker.
Yeah, Soul Drinker.
Oh, Soul Drinker? Oh, the intrinsic, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed it
Or
was
whatever
across the board,
they're
but it was
calling
just
it.
me.
Origin trait, I think is what they're calling
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I completely agree with what Billy said. I feel like
I just
for
want
me
a quick
the-
save for anybody that doesn't know. Basically, that perk is whenever you hit enemies and then you reload, you get health back.
yeah,
Yeah, so with your
Interesting.
SMG,
yeah, you just
Or there's a grenade launcher where it's literally you shoot it's one in the magazine, so you literally get health back every time.
So, and then you can pair that with another perk that's called what is it? But what you do is you shoot every gun you have, and then you get a plus 20% damage bonus for 10 seconds.
Oh yeah.
And things just go. So, say you have it on a linear fusion rifle with Dragonfly in the third slot, and that's the first slot perk. Literally, you just whip out two guns, like you can double primary it, and then you get that for 10 seconds. Go back to gun one. You get plus 20. It's broken.
yeah, we'll see.
I love
what
that. And it's stuff like that is kind of just what makes this game so rad. I think. I'm excited to eventually play this one because the only raid that I've ever played in Destiny is actually Vault of Glass. So I've done none of them since then.
I have not rated yet.
It's an experience. I mean, to go back to
Yeah.
what Billy said, like it's a lot, and it feels like sadistic, like trying to explain it to someone that doesn't play video games, who doesn't play Destiny specifically or anything with raids. It really feels like I don't know, like you're playing on a sports team, and there's a play that you just don't know, like you're not sure what you're supposed to do, and you have to run through it, but like you have to learn it a bunch of times, and you have to run through it a bunch of times, and then ultimately like it's game day, and then you've just run it so much that come game day you're just like, I don't even worry about where I'm going, what I'm doing. I just do it and then make sure I'm communicating properly. Like
Yeah.
it is like the pinnacle of the flow state in video games for me, at least. Because once you hit that point, it is clarity. It's beautiful, and then you get a fun pew pew thing.
Yeah.
Or boots.
Or boots, yeah.
Or boots. Yeah. Are there any final thoughts? Any just random like your favorite moment in Destiny from the campaign. Any highlights that you want to shout out before we close things out? We'll start with Billy.
I will say, like, the last mission of the game was just so great because you had that first encounter, which almost felt like a dungeon encounter where you like had to, look at the glyphs and like it took me a couple tries to like figure out like, wait, why is she laughing at me?
Yeah.
And then it, transitions right into like, the many phase boss fight and the music and oh my goodness. And I love that they like made missions and they made them like their own thing and replayable each week for like rewards and stuff.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I will gladly replay these missions because they're all so good.
Yeah, they're like longer, high quality strikes.
Mm-hmm.
Alec, what do you
Yeah.
have to say? Oh,
That's
I'm
a good
sorry.
way to
You
put
know,
it.
just everyone free for all. I keep like I heard Alec almost say something before Billy
Yeah.
said something, so I tried to get it to you, and then I'm just
I
stepping
was
on
just
everyone's
affirming. Don't
toes.
mind me.
I was going to say one of my favorite moments, and it was caught very well on both Billy's and Chris's streams. There's that moment when the Traveler comes to Sabathoon's throne world, and you just look up and you just see the entire skybox is just the Traveler.
It's
Yeah,
also a very good
that was a
moment to let
great
you know
one.
where the
Yeah.
stakes are real.
I'm just sitting there minding my business, playing the game, and Al just kind of throws in the chat. He goes, "Hey, look up." And I looked up and I went, "Oh!" It's like, whoa! Nobody inspires a sense of scale quite like Bungie does, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think my favorite moment in this whole thing was like seeing there's probably two. I'm seeing the raid boss for the first time, going into that room. And after 15 hours of being in absolute crap, going to that room, and this mug asshole is just standing there going, "Come on, you think you could kill me? I cut my own planet in half." And things like this. And then then I think in the campaign was the minute I realized we told her what her plan was.
Mhm.
Because
Yes.
Memories.
when you see, because you saw me on my stream just go, "Oh, fuck." Like, I'm just like, what did we do? This
She
is
got
bad.
us. She freaking
Like,
got us.
Yeah, we
yeah,
got
like
caught.
the whole time I was saying, "Oh, what's the truth we have to survive?" And the truth being that she was always worthy of the light, which I have receipts. I predicted this a week before Witch Queen came out.
He has receipts.
And we did that, and like I was like, that's the truth we're going to have to survive. I didn't think the second part of that statement was, "Oh, but we tell her what her plan was the whole time." Like,
Yeah, it was there the whole time because it's like when you get resurrected as a guardian, you forget your memories.
yeah.
So it's like in the beginning they were saying like, "Oh, she's acting very strangely. Like this is very weird for Savathun." It's because she at that time didn't remember who she was. And we helped her
Yeah.
remember.
And it's so little. Like, it's not that big a deal. Like, to me, I kind of forgot about it, honestly. Where I'm like, she's probably like powerful enough to where she can just force it somehow.
Mhm.
But then using that as like using player not dramatic irony, but like kind of playing with our heads. Like, it's Savathun. Of course, I should be expecting tricks, but I was not thinking it would be that like. I don't know. I thought the twist would be predictable. I was like, it's Bungie storytelling. My bar is low, but they really raised the bar.
Which
The
I
fact that
mean,
they're comparing this to Doom 2016 and Titanfall 2, which I don't think they reached that Titanfall 2 level, but this is easily comparable to Doom 2016 in my
Yeah.
books.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm with you on that. It's just even standalone. It's a really really solid FPS.
oh
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're into sci-fi bullshit, play Destiny. If you're into pew pew pew, play Destiny. If you're into swords and bows and arrows, like you can have a full medieval loadout
Yeah.
now, with the exception of the glaive, which is like a. If you only use the melee for the glaive, then you can go full medieval.
I mean, I was talking about how much the trailers that I really liked earlier. One of them that it's like when I just kind of want to feel something, I'll go back and watch the newer like Heroes Welcome trailer, and I think that just sort of really encapsulates like there's honestly probably at least something for everybody in this game. Like there's one thing that you like an aspect of this game that you'll find and enjoy and have a good time playing. Like it's also not a game that you have to do everything in to feel like you got your money's worth out of it either. You could never touch PvP a day in your life and still have a great fucking time with this game.
Yeah, and I feel like Bungie is.
In fact, it's probably better for your mental health if you don't.
Yes.
What to say. All right. Any closing? And again, we shit on the game because we love the game. It is highly recommended.
It is still on PC Game Pass, so so that's how I've actually been playing it. And I just had to buy the Witch Queen, so and I even upgraded to the deluxe so I could get the exotic SMG for crafting.
It's so good. It's so good. All right. So Borzen, where can people? Or just as you close out, just where can people find you, self-promo, do all that good stuff?
Yeah. You can find me on Twitch at Borzen00. I stream Destiny a lot. Shocker, I know. I also stream other things a few times. You can also follow me on Twitter at Borzen. And that's pretty much where you can find me. And I make really bad jokes on Twitter, too. So.
Billy.
It's true, he does make really bad jokes on Twitter.
Yeah,
Billy,
so I'm Billythedoor almost everywhere. Twitch, Twitter, all that good stuff. I sometimes stream Destiny. I stream other things too. I more frequently stream other things.
Other things mean City Skylines.
Other things mean City Skylines mainly.
With crowd control.
With crowd control. Or games with conveyor belts.
Is that a category on Steam?
They need to add it. They definitely need to add it, for sure.
Does it work on the Steam Deck?
Oh, no. I need my mouse and keyboard. I'm a mouse and keyboard person. I play Destiny mouse and keyboard because, I need that, I need all the buttons. I need more buttons than fewer buttons.
Buttons. That's where you get the Elite controller.
I got plenty of buttons.
Paddles.
Plenty of buttons right here, baby.
All right, Chris, where can people find, other than shared screens, obviously, where can people find
I was about to say right here. You can also find me, twitch.tv/RoboPack92. I stream 1-2 times a week, depending on what my work schedule looks like, which fluctuates quite a bit. But I have started just regularly adding Destiny into my stream rotation with the new expansion and everything. I think it's a really easy game to just kind of turn on, play some weeklies, vibe out with people. So if you ever want to just like chill to a Destiny stream, that's usually what I do there. I'm not like grinding or raiding in it or doing any of that on stream. That's usually kind of a vibe thing. And then also, play a lot of Halo, a lot of Star Wars games, just kind of whatever else is out and I feel like playing at the moment because, I have ADHD and sometimes not make up my mind.
Yeah, I feel you. Alec.
You can find me pretty much everywhere at Alec Bobco. And on Destiny.
Nice. You can find me at Brother Grimbo on Twitter. Pretty much nowhere else. I'm trying to figure out what the hell I'm doing on Twitch. We'll figure it out someday. I don't know. But you can also just stay tuned to shared screens. We have a lot of, at this point, we have video game content. We talked about Euphoria. We talked about Bridgerton. We're talking Star Wars. We're talking Destiny.
Obi-Wan.
We're talking everything. So if you
we're like Destiny
anything,
2 the Witch Queen. We got something for everybody.
Perfectly said. I'm gonna thank you for joining us.